Hello and welcome back to London Cycle Routes. Today I'll be showing you how to cycle from Waterloo Station, just south of the river, to Bank in the City of London. This ride takes less than 15 minutes and you can do the whole thing on protected cycle lanes and very quiet streets. If you're arriving into Waterloo Station by train, it might be a good alternative to taking the Waterloo and City Line. There are hire bikes or Boris bikes available at both ends. If you like this video or you find it useful, then please do remember to subscribe to the channel because I post new ones like it every week. Alright, let's get going. So we're starting on the Waterloo Road exit of Waterloo Station and you want to head down Sandell Street, just next to the Wellington pub. This street is actually one way, and if you were coming in the return direction, you would go down adjacent Alaska Street, which is just on the other side of those bollards. Now, you swing round into Wootton Street, and the first thing you'll notice is there aren't really any cars at all on this road. That's because this is effectively a low traffic neighbourhood right in the centre of town. There isn't really any through traffic. You can see those little no through route signs on the side there on the left. There's another one coming up just here on the left again. And these basically show that there isn't a through route for motor traffic here at all. But there is a through route for cycles here, so you can see coming up these no motor traffic signs. They're enforced with cameras. This is Greet Street, and this basically allows us to go through, but it doesn't allow cars to go through. And we come out onto the cut, which, as you can see, loads of people sitting out there enjoying it because it's also had its motor traffic removed. That's the home of the old Vic Theatre. Now we come up to the lights here, and you can see these cyclist level signals that gives us a little bit of a head start over the other traffic. And we turn left onto Blackfriars Road. Now, Blackfriars Road has a brilliant cycleway on it. This is really wide. Yes, this is just for bikes. And we're going northbound on it towards the River Thames. In the opposite direction, it actually goes all the way down to Elephant and Castle, and I make good use of this in other videos. And yeah, there's actually a number of different ways you could proceed from Waterloo. This is the way I've chosen. I think it's the most comfortable. I think it's easy to remember as well, which is a real benefit. Do pay attention to the signals. You've got these sort of cyclist height ones, which often go ahead of the traffic lights or on a different rotation as well. If you know this area well, another way to get here would have been to go via Upper Ground, so that's the road on the left there, but I actually recommend this route. There's a slight incline up here, by the way. People always like it when I note the hills in these videos, and pass through these security barriers there to stop vehicle attacks on the bridge. And you can already see, actually, we're on Blackfriars Bridge now, and then on the right there is the dome of St Paul's Cathedral and its various spires popping over the horizon. So you might be surprised by that if you don't know the geography of London too well. We are pretty close to the city. If you sort of jumped on the tube every day and maybe you don't know the geography that well, maybe you thought it was further away, but we're getting close there. This is a little bit counterintuitive, so we want to go right, but we go left to do that. That's because we're kind of on an elevated highway, and there's this nice segregated lane down the ramp towards Victoria Embankment. And if you notice the map at the beginning, there was actually a bit of a hairpin turn. That's actually basically what we're going to do now. So make sure you look both ways because there'll be cycles coming. A lot of people coming that way. This is a really well-used cycle lane, I'd say. It's a big east-west route across London called Cycleway 6, which is what we're joining. And we're now going back on ourselves through the Blackfriars underpass. Normally you wouldn't want to cycle through an underpass, can be a bit scary, but actually this has a curb segregated lane the whole way, so you can see it's a really popular route, lots of people using it, and for good reason, because it's really nice. And we're going under the bridge. And make sure you pay attention to the signals here. And just coming up here, the cycle lane actually ends, and it actually puts us onto a quiet street here called Baynard Street. I think a lot of people who use this route may not actually even know that the cycle lane ends here. It's that subtle, and I just think it's worth pointing it out because occasionally, you can see we're not on a cycle lane anymore, this is actually a street, but occasionally you will run into vehicles on here, but they're only here to access the premises on Baynard Street, so for the most part you've got a clear run just like when you're on the embankment itself. And of course there wasn't actually any traffic there that time, and that's the usual experience. Now as we exit the tunnel, we do very quickly again go back into a segregated cycle lane, so we are now back in the lane. There's no entry for vehicles there, this is just for bikes, and we're going to want to turn off left in a second. The way to remember where to turn off left is you want to turn off left opposite Southwark Bridge, so Southwark Bridge is coming up on our right and we want to go left down Queen Street. This looks like a pavement, but it's actually a shared space area. Be careful of pedestrians, but those little blue symbols on the bollards designate that you can cycle through here. And this is Queen Street, which obviously is a cul-de-sac for traffic, so there isn't any traffic on it at all. And there's another shared space area coming up here, and you come up to what's called a toucan crossing. It's a crossing that has both bike and pedestrian symbols, and you cross this shared space here again. There's actually a cycle crossing here. You can see that green light with just bike lights, and that lets us know that we can go out here. And you're now on a street which appears to have no cycle infrastructure at all, but this is actually part of a massive low traffic neighbourhood that the City of London has introduced. So there are a lot of closures, particularly timed closures from 7 a.m. until 7 p.m, the time where there would be any traffic. So yeah, you can see here this is just buses and cycles. So this is Cheapside. Again, used to be a really busy street, but we're not really going to run into any traffic here. And at the end of Cheapside, the road name changes to the amusingly named Poultry, which is presumably because they used to sell poultry here. And the lights here can be a little bit slow because they were designed to handle much bigger flows of traffic. The City of London is actually redesigning this whole junction, and do visit the consultation. It looks really good. But you can see we've actually arrived. That dead ahead of us is it's actually the Royal Exchange. It's not the Bank of England. The Bank of England is on the other side of the street. But everyone always thinks that's the bank, so you can impress your friends by telling them that. But yeah, I hope you'll agree that that was a really easy ride, and it's really pleasant. It genuinely is as pleasant as it looks. You can basically do the whole thing no problem at all now. And until recently, that used to be quite a difficult one. So I really hope someone finds that useful, and if you enjoyed that, if you found it useful, make sure you hit subscribe on the channel, do like the video, tell your friends, etc. And crucially, I won't forget to mention that if you want to download a map of the route, then you can find a link in the description, and there'll be GPX files there for the app or device of your choice. But thank you very much for watching, guys, and see you again next time.